Kentucky head coach Nick Mingione, student athletes Robert Hogan, James McCoy, as well as Reeves Mingione. Questions for the student athletes, again, please raise your hand and identify yourself and your media outlet before asking.
Ethan Gruen's catch coverage. Robert, what was working out there for you today? You came in there in tough situation and pitched 3 shutout innings.
I guess the thing is just throwing strikes. That was the biggest thing, just being able to throw every pitch for a strike. That keeps the hitters off balance. And I have a unbelievable defense behind me, so it's easy to pitch when you have guys like G behind me and James. Like they're getting the balls that not a lot of teams can, so it's a lot easier to pitch like that.
Come from?
Daniel Hager, Kentucky Sports Radio. James, you entered the game in a bit of a slump, but you got a home run and a double. What kind of changed in your approach today?
I was about 3 hours down here with Coach Minch, just working on a bunch of fields. I mean, doing a bunch of crazy stuff, and I just thank him for all everything he pours into us. And Reeves was down there with us too. So, yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
John Hill, the Herald, Robert, 50 pitches today. Just what's kind of your availability for the rest of the weekend?
So I'm going to get some rest tonight, do some recovery, probably do a light day tomorrow or take it off no thrill, and then I'll be ready for Sunday.
Yeah.
For both of you guys, Michael Epps, 556. What was it like playing postseason baseball here in this region?
Yeah, it's really cool, seeing all the fans come out, and they kind of rush in the gates there right when they opened in BP. Like we were running in from doing our defensive work, but it's cool just to see the rush into all the terraces there, and they have our backs the whole game.
Yeah, I would say that it's pretty cool. BBN's pretty awesome. Being here is probably the greatest decision I've ever made. I couldn't thank Mingione enough, and like this place, what it means to me. And so playing postseason baseball here, it means a lot.
John Clay, Herald Leader. Following up on that, what does that do for you guys when you've got a crowd like that, as you mentioned, the way they showed up and supporting you, playing on? What does that do for you during a game?
Yeah, it just puts the focus on the front of the jersey. The Big Blue Nation, everyone. They come out and support us when weather's raining. I mean, it was Vandy, and I was getting there. I was on right, getting soaked, and everyone else is still in the outfield with me, and they're not running for cover. But they pour their hearts in us, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff.
Jeff Drummond, Rivals. James, what did you see on the home run pitch? And it looked like it was quite a laser shot.
Yeah.
It didn't get very high off the ground.
Yeah, I saw a slider the pitch before, and it was called a ball, and he came back to it, so I felt good swinging at it. And when I first hit, I thought it was going to maybe hook a little bit more foul, so I kind of got out of the box, and I was like, oh, that's foul. And then a couple more steps, like, oh, that's fair. So I kind of, it was cool to see it go over.
Dick.
Dick Gabriel, Big Blue Insider. James, you've been with the program for a while. This is such a great opportunity, obviously, one game at a time, but what kind of pressure, if any, are you guys feeling to take advantage of this?
I don't think there's much pressure. We prepare like for these games, or if bigger stakes, and we just focus on preparing and preparing the best that we can. So.
Paul Novielli, 102.7 The Game, Bleed Blue Network. Obviously, the 5th inning, they kind of come storming back, threatening, putting a lot of pressure on you guys. Really, that whole inning, what's the mood in the dugout right after that to make sure that you guys come out and answer, really, and kind of grab momentum back and kind of seize control of the game again?
I mean, I would say for us, the biggest thing is just staying with us. We don't like to see what they're doing, and I mean, if they score, then we're going to score right back, or we're just going to keep trying to lift each other up. We're not going to try and have any time in the game where we're down. That's our biggest thing. Is in the dugout, we like to be up, no matter what the score is. If we're up, if we're down, we're always going to be up in the dugout having fun.
Over there.
Michael Preston, NCAA.com. For both of you, how valuable is it with what you guys have to go through on a weekly basis when you're playing in your conference? How valuable is that now when you get into this kind of situation?
I mean, I would say it definitely is valuable. But the team we played today, like you saw, they were resilient. They came out attacking, and then, I mean, they almost came back, So, but having the experience we do in the SEC, it definitely helps to where we can stop it and we know what we are. I mean, it's the best conference in the country. I mean, it says it for itself, you know.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, it's week in, week out. As you say, it's you know, it's a tough schedule no matter who you're playing, really. And it's interesting. Coach Minge always says, you know, those games all count the same, and it just prepares you because week in, week out, it's, you know, tough team and tough lineups every day. So, and then you get to the game today, and you know they're a tough lineup too, and they took advantage of our mistakes, and it's just a matter of, you know, we've been through it before. We've been through it for 10 weeks in the SEC, so we know how to battle and come back.
Down front, right over here.
Now, Ryan Black with the Louisville Courier-Journal. James, in your first answer, you kind of mentioned that being down here with Coach Minge for about 3 hours, doing a bunch of crazy stuff, is kind of what helped a little bit. Can you, without maybe giving away secrets, can you kind of describe what some of the crazy stuff and what was it that clicked from that?
I think one of the craziest thing was like, if this is the plate here, we put a tee like where Reeves is, and I'm standing there, and he's like, all right, I want you to hit this ball off this tee, like at Ammo's over here. And it was swing and miss. It was like, ooh, that looked weird. But then it was like, you know, I feel something, and you know, baseball's all about adjustments and just having feel with your swing, and you know, figuring out those adjustments and what's working.
John Wong, Nolan Media. Robert, can you talk a little bit about Dominic's performance and what that means to the team?
Yeah, so that was awesome. Being able to see him and go out there and absolutely dominate. He's one of those guys that we needed that to happen. And having him come out today and do that and give us those innings, it saves arms for this weekend. And so now we have a lot of guys for tomorrow. I mean, and it's just something where we can all build off that. We can all build off each other, and we trust everyone who gets the ball.
Any more questions for the student athletes? Yep, Becky.
So one more. This one's for Robert, though. As a kid, you probably dreamed playing, you know, in the playoffs or postseason baseball on the mound, trying to get that final out. What was that like today in front of this home crowd, when that, you know, when you can finally tell, hey, we're gonna win this thing, we're gonna get out of it, right? What's that going through your mind, and was it everything you probably thought of as a kid, being on the mound for that final out in a game like that would be?
I mean, I guess I can't. It kind of makes me speechless because I didn't really have any thoughts. I was just like, you know, I'm just getting this out, you know. And I mean, it's one of those things where playing baseball is hard, and it's like every other game. I mean, there was a lot of people, and I mean, every weekend we have it, and it's not like I thought of it. It's just another weekend. It's another weekend in playing baseball, having fun.
Robert, you have played a lot of baseball. You came here, you bet on yourself, you came through the portal, and you played a big role all year. What has it meant to you to be a part of this and help lift this program to a place it's never been before?
It's a pretty special feeling. I mean, this place is unreal. And like I've said before, there's no place I'd rather be right now than here in Kentucky, playing for this school in this state. The guys too, they're my brothers, and I don't know what else to say. It's just pretty awesome being here and being able to play for these guys, Coach Minge, everyone. It's like nothing I could ever ask for.
Any more for student athletes? All right, guys, thank you. You're free to go.
Get that
Thank
water.
you. Yes, sir.
Do you need another one, James?
I'll take that one.
Oh, thank you.
Coach, sorry, I did not give you an opening statement.
No, that's all right.
Opening statement from Coach that I forgot.
When they opened them gates about 90 minutes before, just to watch our fans, like, just rush to get to their spots, it was a surreal feeling. I've been to another place where it's been like that, but we hadn't had that yet. And so I first off want to thank our fans for showing up in the sun and the heat. They showed up. It was 90 minutes, I believe. It was 90 minutes before the game, and they were waiting to sit there. They waited an hour and a half until the games even started. And then they sat through, how long was that game? Somebody help me. 3.5 almost? 3.5? So our fans, they sat there for 5 hours. So just super thankful to them. I thought Dom gave us a great start. He went 4 shutout to start, and then give them a lot of credit. They started putting balls in play. With 2 strikes, they just flicked balls, hit it really, quite frankly, where we weren't. And that's a really good team. They're champions for a reason. So, but I thought Don, he got us a lot of big outs. I thought Cam O'Brien, the job that he did to come in the 5th was crucial, where we were able to minimize. Thought Evan Byers got us 2 outs. Then obviously Hogan was fantastic, got us 10 outs. And they had their chances. Give them a lot of credit. They put a lot of pressure on us. But I give our guys credit. We bent, but we didn't break. So they did score in 2 innings, but they didn't score in the other 7. And I thought that was the difference in the game.
Nick, Michael F. 566. Was there a little nail biting there? I mean, it was close there. It was tight. And does that kind of give a wake-up call to the guys? Like, at this point, every single team is going to be good.
You know, you guys have watched us play. How many times we've been in that same game? I just feel like we've been there so many times. I don't bite my nails. My wife's proud. Reeves, do you still bite yours, or are you good? No. All right, Reeves stopped biting, so no one, I know Kristen doesn't bite her nails, so no one in our family bites her nails. But was it, man, intense, and every play and every inch mattered? Absolutely. But to our point the other day, we've been in those games for 15 weeks. So this is the 16th week of it. So I thought our guys absolutely responded. You know, I thought a big moment in the game was in the 5th. They score 5, and then we immediately score 2, and I thought that was the difference in the game. They immediately score 5, and we answer back with 2. I thought that was big.
Right there. Ethan Grant's got his coverage. So Devin Burks, he's had his ups and downs all year, but just leave it off right where he left off last year in the regional. Can you just talk about how he played today?
The guy is just clutch. He had 4 key blocks, kept the game in front the entire time. And every one of those blocks saved us a base, which ultimately saved us a run. So I thought his leadership was fantastic. His verbal and nonverbal behind the plate is absolutely crucial. And there's a reason why we bat him in a 3-hole. You know, I think you can look at stats and other things, but that guy is as tough and he's as clutch as anybody in our program. So he was 5 for 5 today, quality at-bats. It was 5 for 5. Every at-bat, he did something positive for Kentucky. So I thought that was good. And then, you know, I thought the production up and down our lineup was crucial. I talked about our pitching. I mentioned some of our defense, but we had 7 different guys that had an RBI. 7. And if you look at what our 7, 8, and 9 guys did, they scored 5 of our 10 runs between those guys. So I think anytime you have that kind of production up and down the lineup, it obviously makes us hard to beat. And we were able to do it all. We hit bunts, bombs, ran the bases, stolen bases, got thrown out a couple times being aggressive, but we were on the full-on attack. We drew walks, we got hit by pitches, and we hit on a lot of cylinders offensively.
Far left.
Michael Preston, NCAA.com. Today starts a journey for a lot of teams who are hoping it goes for 2 or 3 weeks and ends up in Omaha. When you had a program that's had a lot of success but has never been there, can you talk about the hunger of the people who were coming in those stands 90 minutes before, your hunger, your players' hunger to get to a place this place has never been?
Yeah. Been a lot of work, a lot of ups and downs. I've learned a lot as a coach. I haven't been perfect. But the one thing I will say is that as our program has continued to try to climb and make adjustments and get better, our fans have done the same thing. And you can just see year after year, you can just see it building from the end of 22 to last year to this year. And I want to compliment this team, and you guys have heard me say this a lot. They are so good at moving on to the next thing. Like, we talk all the time. You've heard us say about this win will expire at midnight, and it will. They move on immediately. And that's how, you know, this year we look up and at one point we're 15-1 in the league. It's like, it's incredible. How are you able to do that? And if I told our team, hey, we better go 15-1 at the beginning of the year, they'd be like, Coach, you're crazy. But they've literally have taken each game and they move on and they say next, and it's a new day. Win or lose, next. And ultimately, it's a lot like building a house. You really have to do it, a brick house. You do have to do it one brick at a time. And you got to keep laying them. And when one gets off, you got to reset it and get it going. And you just keep going. And then by the time you look up and you do that enough times for a long enough period of time, after a while, you look up and you're like, wow, look at this. We've built a mansion, but you can only do it one brick at a time, and that's what we've attempted to do.
Bert Granger, D1 Baseball. Coach, you talked about the 5th inning, and I think going into that inning, Dom had only given up 1 hit, and I think we all agree he pitched better than the stat line. They had three infield base hits and a bloop that inning, scored 5 runs. How do you keep the guys from getting frustrated, or yourself from getting frustrated, when teams are doing those frustrating things to you that you've been doing to them all season long?
Yeah, that's where it's our ability to move on. I thought it helped, because I did not think Dom got frustrated. I thought he just kept making his pitch, and it was like, boom, they put the ball in play, give him credit. Boom, they put it in play. But I thought he held true to who he was. He didn't get frustrated. And you're right, that's us at our best, where we're putting balls in play and creating pressure and making plays. So I thought he did that, and I thought Cam, he settled that game too. Cam O'Brien, he did what he's done all year. He's been our fireman. Every time it gets to a spot where we need to bring in a fireman, boom, and it gets hairy, he's right there. And I thought they held it together. And I also, again, like how we responded right after. To score 2 immediately, I thought that was crucial. Yeah.
Yeah, John. Hale. Nick, obviously when you're up 8-0, it looks like maybe you're going to be able to make it out there without using any of your top relievers. You have to do what you have to do to win the game.
Yes.
But how do you feel about the pitching situation for the rest of the week?
Yeah, if you asked me before the game, how was it going to go? It was going to go Dom to Hogan. And we used Kim in between there, and we used Evan, who got us, obviously, 2 outs. And you could see Hoagie was starting to run on fumes there at the end. So I even think those 2 outs by Evan Byers was big, but that was the plan, to go right to Dom, right to Hogan. So would it have been nice, up 8-0, to try to put the game away? Yes, but that's a good team. That's a good team. And it was going to be hard to put them away. And if you look at that team, how many times they scored 8 or more runs in their last 15 games, it's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. So I knew deep down that they were going to make their run and their push. And it played out the way we wanted with Hogan.
Nick, kind of follow up on Mike's question. Obviously, as a number 2 overall seed, you're very capable of getting where you want to go. But how do you keep the guys loose and concentrate on the goal, but also have fun and play loose?
Yeah. They've actually done that all year. And there's a couple times where I got to be honest, John, like I'm looking down and I'm like, do I want to look down and see what they're doing? I'm like, they're like, you know what I mean? Like, I really don't have to really coach that as much with this group because they're keeping it loose. Today I saw the cap stack. I don't know if you saw that. This was new, but they mixed in camo. Did you guys catch that? It was like regular cap, then a camo cap, then a regular cap, then a camo. And like they brought the camo. I saw them sitting on the bench. I'm like, early in the game, I'm like, I bet that's for the cap stack whenever we do that. Like, so they're thinking ahead. I saw Jackson Novi today. John, I really look, I'm walking down the dugout, I'm getting ready to coach, and I was like, Jackson Novi have full catcher's gear on. Left-handed pitcher. I'm like, all right, they're loose. Like, they're loose. So we need them to keep playing that way. But it all starts. They can only be loose if they compete first, and they know that. It starts. That is the building block of anything we do. You have to compete at the highest level. Yeah.
Coach, expanding on Dom, what kind of went in that decision for him to start today?
Well, our starters, you guys know this. Those that have followed our program closely, you've been there, I think, about every game. We've gotten a lot of mileage out of our starters. They have thrown a bulk of innings. And when we're at our best, they take us deep into the game. Well, they've done that. So, therefore, they've thrown a good bit. And so we chose to not throw Dom as much in the SEC tournament. If you remember, we threw him for maybe an inning to get out of there. And he was kind of not beat up, but he's just, there's some things that going on. So we really gave him some good rest. And I give Coach Rozelle credit. Him and Don worked this past week and actually moved Dom on the rubber some. And I thought that adjustment really helped, and that's the thing. I just compliment our guys. James, we tried honestly 30 different things with him. 30 different things to get them these different feels. And you would put a ball over here, and you got to hit the ball over there. Then I put a ball on a tee over here and said, okay, try your hands right here. Okay, put your elbows together, spread your feet out, spread out, get your hip in there a little more. Try that. And it's like back and forth, and it's like, all right, do circles. Okay, angle your bat this way, James. Try that. Nope, that didn't work. Okay, grab this stick right here, this big PVC pipe. Swing that thing. Okay, you hear the swoosh? Okay, try that. Nope, that didn't work. Okay, I'm going to hold your hip right here, and like you're going to swing. And it was like, it was a marathon. But to his credit, he just wanted to be coached, and he wanted to figure it out. And same thing with Dom. I give him a lot of credit. He made an adjustment on the rubber, and it paid big dividends. So I appreciate it about our team. They're always trying to get better, all of them. Even the guys on the bench are finding ways to get in there. And we have good players that didn't get a chance to get in, but they'll be ready when their time's called. But they work.
Nick, what's the difference in mentality, if any, from the position you were in last season and had to fight out of and taking care of the first game this season?
Game 2 has been our deal. In 17, we won the first game, lost the second one. In 23, won the first one, lose the second one. So we've got to be able to weigh, to win a regional, you know this, you can win it in 3 games or you got to do it in 5. So we haven't done, in those 2 years, we have not won the second game. That has been our biggest challenge. So now we have Poos and Memo both available, rested, on good rest, to try to win the second game against a really good team. Guys, this has been a really cool 5 days. Really cool 5 days. We had our selection show with our number 2 national seed. We get done, and this little dude right here stands up in front of our team and says he was going to get baptized on Thursday, invited our team. And yesterday at my house, it was optional. We had the whole team there, and Reeves got baptized. And then we came out today and we win. It's like, pretty good 5 days. Number 2 national seed, your son gets baptized and you win game 1. It's like, whew, praise the Lord. Pretty amazing. Yeah.
Staying on the same track with that, can you just talk about how cool it's been to experience this with your son all year, him being in the dugout, being next to you the whole time?
Yeah. We're a family. And those of you that followed us, when Kristen and I took the job here, Kristen is brightest person as I've ever met. She has 2 degrees. And she just basically, we decided that this was going to be our team and we're going to do this together. So we really do have a family. And Kristen and Reeves, they're there all the time. Kristen pours her heart and soul into this. Our fans, all the families, Reeves does the same thing. It's not hard to be a coach's wife, and it's not hard to be a coach's son, but we do it the best way we know how. And the only way I know to do it is to do it together as a family. And our team is the same exact way. They're just a group of guys that love each other. They want to do everything they can to help Kentucky win. And it's been a great group. And our fans have noticed that. Our fans have noticed their unselfishness and the way they root and pull for each other. It's been fun. But I can't do what I do without my wife and my son, because they are the most important thing in my life. And but they're in it with us. And my wife's competitive, and so is Reeves now. He'll tell me, Dad, what happened to this? He'll keep me straight. He'll keep me straight.
Reeves, what advice would you give for your dad?
I don't really know.
How do you want us to practice?
Everything that you've been doing the last few years.
Yep, keep doing
Last year, 17, just keep doing the same thing over and over again. And if that doesn't go right with some guys, work with them and make it better.
Good answer. Coach, I've got a question for you. You start out first inning, you guys are stealing bases, you're up a bunch of runs, you're stealing bases. I think I know the answer to this, but does that aggressiveness, is that ever going to be pulled back a little bit? Or are there situations where you wouldn't do that?
We're at our best when we attack, and we force people to make plays and make mistakes. And there's times where we made 2 outs on the bases today, but we also forced them to make 3 errors. Right? Even in the first inning, think about this. We scored a run in the first inning without a hit. Without a hit. How do we do it? We did it with a walk, a stolen base. They try to pick, made an error. Boom, there's your run. We never got a hit. The ball never left the infield. Right? I mean, to get to third base. Like, we didn't do it. So that's us at our best. And we just feel like if you do that to 18 and 24-year-olds over time, they're going to make mistakes. And, even I thought Grant did a great job. He got thrown out third. There was one out. That's the time to do it. There are 12 ways you can score from third base that you can't from second. And especially with one out, that's the time to do it. The guy made a perfect throw, tip your cap, slid a little bit past the bag. So what? Next play, move on. But that's us at our best when we force our opponent. So is there a time when we'll back off? I don't know. I just love when we play that way. And I think it totally affects our opponents.
Jonathan Bruner, Kentucky Colonel. Can you talk about what Hogan has meant? He mentioned the family aspect of the team. Can you talk about what he's meant to the team, both the player and the pitcher, all season long?
Yeah, I told him this. We do something that Ty Crittenberger is one of our seniors, and he is as good as leader as we have. And he hasn't played much. He's waiting for his opportunities, and when he does, he'll take advantage of it, and he'll do great. But we did a deal not too long ago where we talked about what makes our team great. Like, what is it? And Ty Crittenberger stands in the back right-hand corner, and actually where Shelby Jean's sitting, and he raised his hand. He says, what we value makes us different. And what we value on the pitching and defense side is quality pitches, okay? And after every game, our standard is to have 80% quality pitches. So the following day, Coach Roselle, he's totaling up his chart right now. I know exactly what he was doing. He's going to send me a text, and we'll see where we were at with our quality pitches. And before the game tomorrow, we'll talk about the quality pitches. And whenever Hoagie meets that standard, and most of the time he does, okay, and I say, all right, Robert Hogan, 84%, the team goes crazy for the guy. They love him. And I mentioned that to him, might have been yesterday at practice. I said, I love the way the team loves you, Hoagie. And we did another exercise where I said, it was actually after one of our chapels. They were talking about serving and how people are at their best when they serve. And I said, hey, who serves you guys? Like, who is one of those guys that you could ask, hey, this guy will do anything for me? Okay? It was a story about the people holding their friend and putting them down through the roof, okay, to go see Jesus or whatever, because there was just people everywhere. And it's like, hey, who would do anything for you? And the team, immediately, Hoagie, he'll do anything for me. He's like one of those guys that he will serve them. He'll do anything for them. And it's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. So they love him. They love each other. But boy, do they love that guy. They love that guy.
Couple more.
Coach, how good is it for you as a coach to see, as a team, you guys have had, it seems like ups and downs, comebacks, get big leads, everything. It's been all over the place this year, right?
Yes.
Exciting to watch. But, coming in now as a favorite, as a top seed, and seeing your team kind of take a hit and respond and not kind of feel the pressure, from a coach's perspective, how much was that like, all right, we're in a really good mental place here. It's not just, loose and kind of normal, but, they're focused and we can kind of take the pressure.
Yeah, it makes you proud as a coach. And I think you guys know this. We talk about this all the time, but when your team can have experiences, they can draw from those experiences, right? Like we talk about this, you've maybe heard me say this all the time, as parents, Kristen and I do not want to give Reeves things. We want to give them experiences because that's what shapes and impacts them, right? That's why that Friday against Vanderbilt, when we won the SEC, that was an experience they will never forget. And every time our team has been in those games and they've had those experiences, right? I feel like we've played this game, I don't know how many times, right? So over time, you just get used to having to make a pitch. You get used to having to make a play, having an at bat. All those things matter. So every time you have that experience, it helps you. And, it's much like when you get cut and you get a scab, right? And then it's like your skin gets scarred and then you get tougher and your skin gets tougher and tougher and you just keep getting cut and your skin is just like, after a while, it's just so hard to just penetrate it. It's like you are scarred up, like, man. And our team has been through a lot. They've been through a lot. And I feel like we've played that game right there, I don't know how many times. Whether it's a 4-2 game or it's a 10-8 game, we've played it. And the guys have experienced that. So I'll be pretty upset if they hit the panic button, right? Like, then I don't think they did. I think they just kept going along and just kept playing the game, make the pitch, play the game, and worked out good.
One last one. Anybody?
Thank you all for being here. Yes, thank you. Go Cats.
Matt,